Hello, going to help you through the 12-1 Day 2 worksheet for PreCalc. Starting where we left off yesterday, dealing with the introduction to limits here. These problems mostly have a graph, and from there we respond to a number of questions dealing with limits or function values. Okay, so A here, again, as my function approaches from the left, my height is 2. If it approaches from the right, my function value is 3. And that means the limit as it approaches 1 does not exist because the two functions are not the same, as their limit values are not the same. There's a jump there. If there's a jump, the limit does not exist. I'm going to fix the thickness of my pen here. That's a little too thick. Okay, jumping to number D here. Limit out here at 5. Here's where 5 is. I bring it over and I get 4. But since we don't have a definite point at the function's position at 5, we say that f of 5 is undefined. We don't know exactly what it is. Okay, moving on. So we have 3 more like this, and then a few graphing ones where we graph ourselves here. Okay, similarly here, as I approach 0, when I'm at 0, my function is 3. If I go ahead and approach 3 from the left, I'm at 4. If I approach 3 from the right, I'm at 2. Since there's a jump there, I have to say that it does not exist. And the reason is that the limit of the function from the left does not equal the limit of the function coming from the right. But in this case, since I do have a dot here at 3, right here, that will allow me to say I can figure out the function's value. Continuing here, okay, approaching 0 from the left is right here. That gives me -1. Approaching from the right gives me -2. So that means the function does not exist because the limits from both sides are not equal. Moving on here, we're jumping out here to 2. So there's that part for this. There's that part for this. And again, they do not exist. The limit at 2 does not exist because of the jumping going on there. So again, we have this statement here. If we're asked to explain why, this is our explanation. And then finally, g of 2, we have a specific point there, so we can say it's at 1. And the limit of g of t as t approaches 4 is out here, and it looks like it's going to have to be 3. Okay, moving on. Similarly here, the limit of f of x as x approaches 3 is, where's 3? That's right out here. So that would be 2. For this one here, as the limit of the function as x approaches 1, right here you can see how it kind of is coming together at that open dot, so that would be -1. Okay. This next one, as the limit of the function as approaches 3 from the -3 out here is right here. So again, they kind of converge on 1. So we get that. Over here, 2 from the left. 2 from the left is right there. So it looks like it's also 1. And if we have 2 from the right, we're way up here at 2. And so again, since the limit at 2 is kind of between these two guys here and they're not the same, there's a jump, we'd have to say that it does not exist because of this reason here. Alrighty. Now moving on here, we had to do some graphing. And again, remember just the process of graphing these piecewise functions. It just takes a little bit of time to kind of get through that. And so the question here was, coming from the left, we're at 4. Coming from the right, we're at 4. So that means since these are equal, then that leads us to that. So again, take your time graphing and just go from there. Moving on. Again, I have my graph here. This time I do have a jump from this side. It's 2. From this side, it's 1. They're different, so it does not exist. You did not have to supply this, but there's your reasoning. Over here, graphing horizontal line in green and a negative slope line here. So as we come here, we get 4. As we go here with the green, we get 3. Again, those have a jump, so it does not exist. And here's the reason why, even though you did not have to write it. And then finally here, a couple of lines. They both meet at this point. One's solid, one's open. And again here, I did have to do a scale of 2 because of that darn 10. So I went up. My vertical scale was 2. My horizontal scale was 1. And again, I got from the left, I get 6. From the right, I got 6. So approaching that number itself, we get 6. Hopefully this helps you. And again, limits are very important for upper math as you kind of continue your math journey.